all, welcome to this wonderful venue. We like it here so much. As it gets darker, it gets to be more like a hall with no roof. So maybe we should start raising money for that. I'm doing this, it's hardly a tour. And we're doing these 5 shows this year. When they said to me we could do 5 shows this year, I said, well, one of them has to be at Greenwich. So we are here, but this is why we're doing it. Last year, I had a lot of complaints. I'm sure none of the complaints came from you, of course, but there were a lot of complaints saying that I sold out too quickly. I'm sure you'll understand when I say I didn't feel too bad about that. But some people may have missed the show. The promoter said, let's do these 5 shows and give the people who didn't see you last year a chance to see you this year. The same show as last year. So the only way I'm going to do this, can we have a show of hands? Who did not come last year? Just slipped in. Okay, for you. The band and I have rehearsed this evening, and we would like to do this whole show just for you that waved your hands. The rest of you can take an intermission. The first couple of songs are from the 50s, I'm sure most of you recognize them anyway. But the Shadows and I, and the Beatles, and a whole bunch of other people that started in that early period, this is the music we cut our teeth on. And those old songs from the 50s led that's true, I was the first bad taste dresser. Thank you so much, thank you. You know, I left school when I was 16, and when I was 17, I recorded Move It. It all happened rather quickly, and what was I going to do next? Oh yeah. Move It got to number 2 in the British charts. It took 4 more releases before I got my first number 1. And it was this one, Living Dawn. Those 4 songs came from the 50s, entered the 60s, and of course we had a lot of competition throughout those years because the Beatles started in the 60s as well. So I'm going to take this opportunity.
It goes down when you stop singing.
This opportunity of actually changing my jacket. I know it's not cheap coming to concerts, and I think you should at least see a few jackets. Anyway, what I was going to say was, it's a great pleasure for me to sing for you from the 60s 5 of my number 1s. Thank you very much, thank you. Yes, we didn't think, the Shadows and I never dreamt that we'd be actually making movies, and as you know, we made 2 or 3 that were quite well received. Summer Holiday was probably the most popular of them, and the good thing about this is that not only can I sing you a number 1 from that song, Summer Holiday, there was a second one, and it was a ballad, The Next Time. Thank you very much. I've had so many great songs to sing. Thank you. Could you scratch a little bit left? I have been the most fortunate of pop singers because I've been given over and over again terrific songs to sing, and with your help, we had big hits with them. And probably the most unforgettable thing for me, though, and I think you'll understand, is when the Queen knighted me. You see, it was never on my radar, because in those days gone by, the knighthoods went to businessmen or actors, and never to a pub singer. So I was really thrilled when, in fact, I got the message that she was willing to give me one if I was willing to accept it. Take the ball, and I said yes. And it was quite a nerve-wracking situation too, being at the palace, having to kneel in front of her. She comes forward with the sword. I was a little worried when she came like this. But she tapped me on the shoulders. Funny enough, she doesn't say, "Arise, Sir Cliff." Apparently that only happens in Hollywood. So anyway, but I'm thrilled with it, absolutely thrilled. Some friends of mine said, "Oh, you're a knight now. What should we call you?" And I said, "Well, this is ridiculous. I answer to anything. I mean, I answer to all you." So I've been doing this nicely because, I don't know that I'll ever meet every one of you individually, personally. And therefore, there seems to be no contact vocally, verbally. So I wonder, if I count to 3, you could all shout out "or you" to me. We'll have made contact. You ready? 1, 2, 3. That's gonna help you. Thank you very much. I love it. Thank you very much. Now this next song, I've noticed there are so many young people here tonight. I'm thrilled to see you. Welcome. I'd like to dedicate this song to all the very young people tonight. Everybody under the age of 79. Thank you. Expensive. This is the expensive jacket. Oh, no, it's not. It's made in China. Those of you who came last year will know, pretend you haven't heard this before. I made a big boo-boo. I was trying to describe this next song, and we're now heading into the 70s, I believe. This is the beginning of the 70s. And there was a fantastic record that decade. I'm sure it was the #1. And what I said was it was recorded by Art Fart Gunkel. And as I said, I called him, I explained, I apologized. He said, "Oh, don't worry about that. It was my name, I changed it." Thank you very much. This next song has been a confusion for me for ages, ever since I first recorded it. We released it, but it took 15 weeks to get it into the British charts, and the highest position that it reached was 15. In Australia, it shot in at 98. And shot out again. And here's the confusion. It has become the most requested song I get to sing live on stage. But I like it because this song is like singing honey. It's nice to be in this business of ours because we get to travel a lot more than sometimes we want to, but we do. And in America, I never really quite made it, but I enjoy going there very much. And I have to get my hair cut whenever I can. So I had a haircut in New York. And barbers, hairdressers, they just click and talk. And he clicked. And then suddenly he said, "What do you do for a living?" And I thought, should I lie or tell him? I sing. He said, "Oh, really? Click. You make any money at it?" I went, "Yeah." do you record? I went, yeah, I can record. Click, click, click. He said, anything I'd know? He said, click. I said, put your scissors down for a minute. She's just a devil woman. And he sang, we will on her mind. He said, that's you? I went, yeah, that's me. He said, what's your name? I said, it's Richard. He said, never heard of him. I actually asked for a wardrobe mistress.
I'll do it.
It's now named Delia.
Get in the queue, John.
Clear off.
While I was in Carmel, the last concert we did. Oh, please, don't tell me you were there. Honestly, Carmel, that's anybody in. But I was invited to go and speak at a school. A couple of the guys, 3 of them, joined me. And we sang a couple of songs that they also asked me questions. And one of the questions I thought was pretty cool. This kid got up and he said, if they made a movie about you, who would you like to play you? I thought, oh my goodness, this is a real tough one. Casting that role will be incredibly difficult. It's not going to be easy for them to find anybody that's handsome enough. And then I thought, wait a minute. I said, no, well, I think I'd like Brad Pitt. Although, of course, he'd have to play me as an older man. It was we enjoyed being there. The kids were really good fun. Now, we're heading into the 80s. And the Shadows and I, we didn't think we'd be alive in the 80s, but we were. I was. And success kept coming my way. This record that we're going to do now made a success. It was mostly, I think, a radio success because of the lyrics. It's called Wired for Sound. Thank you so much. Thank you. Excuse me. This is water. I'd like to do a song that it was my 100th single. Remember, I've been releasing one of them per year.
Love you, Kim.
Love you more.
That school I mentioned earlier, there was another question that came up saying, what song is the most meaningful you've sung? Well, I've had a few very meaningful songs, but there's one that we've been doing, well, last year and this year too. The first time I ever sang it was to the largest crowd I've ever sung to. We sang it at Wembley Stadium. Was anybody in there as well? But it was a terrific event. I was very nervous singing it for the first time, but the reason why I mention it is because it does have a meaningful lyric. It's like that from a distance, we are seen to be wanting. We want peace, we want love, we want harmony, we want everybody fed in the world. Somehow or another, though, it seems out of our reach. But I still feel that every time I sing it, we may be one step closer. So here it is. What's it called? Hey! Just before Christmas last year, I released a brand new album. It's called Rise Up. We'd like to do 3 of the songs from that album. It went gold. Thank you so much. The second single from that album was this one. It was written by a friend of mine called Chris Eaton, and the song was called Reborn. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have seen it before, know that I never do a one-man show. I've always made sure that I'm surrounded by gifted and talented musicians, and tonight is no different. So I'd like to ask you to help me say thank you firstly on the drums to Andy McLaughlin. On the bass, Paul Turner. On windy instruments, Mike Horton. Guitars and vocals, Bobby Harrison. Guitars and vocals, David Luke. Guitars and vocals, John Boyden. And the keyboards, and keeping us all under control, and night after night, failing miserably. Keith Hayman. Our lights are controlled by Derek Jones, thank you. Our sound is controlled by Andy Linklater, thank you. Sound on stage by J.J. James. Wardrobe mistress would be better. I can't leave the stage anymore without singing this song, because it became the biggest selling single I ever had. It was written for me by a guy that used to be in my band. He's a good friend of mine, Alan Charney. He wrote, "We Don't Talk Anymore." Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming tonight. Have safe journeys home.